It's a little bit strange. Bond has gotten very nice critical score, and most critics seem to like it. And even fans who don't like it do find a lot of particular elements very good. Probably Ana de Armas, Paloma is the one universally liked to sing, but she's more of a cameo. So even if you've heard good things about her, she's not in the film all that much. But in terms of other aspects, in terms of its humor, its action scenes, and its very big length, it's actually longer than Dune. A lot of people are split that it is a good send-off for Bond, but it just feels very strange. And if you're a Bond fanatic, you'll probably be very mixed on how they decided to frame things. Some people really went with the lead villain was played by Rami Malek. Some people liked it a lot. Other people thought it was a little pathetic. It didn't make a lot of sense. Very mixed reception in terms of critics as well as audiences, but it is being embraced and it has very, very healthy and very impressive box office, at least to begin. But will it be enough to make back its money as well as be profitable? It's a very long road because it has to sort of get to $1 billion. But I'm a big Craig fan, and I do like Rami Malek a lot, so I'm still very curious about how the film looks. So I'm definitely going to try to give it a look. Now, in terms of Venom, that's much more interesting, if much more weird, because that keeps getting lower and lower critic rating. At one point, it was in the 80s with Rotten Tomatoes, but more and more critics are just kind of being turned off by it. But again, this may work for you. It is, by most people's consensus, extremely silly and super goofy, and some fans really like that. Some fans have really embraced that. Other fans were a little pissed off. In terms of the rumors that he's gay or queer, it's a little bit all over the place. Apparently it's more of a metaphor and subtext. He does visit a gay club in one scene, but how explicit is this? They definitely do make Venom and the symbiote a romance, which is not canonical because that is a very recent thing they did to the Eddie Brock relationship. I can remember for years the symbiote did have a bit of a personality, but it was kept pretty mysterious. In terms of Carnage himself, again, it's very mixed and weird. Even though the advertisement makes it seem as if he's a big part of the movie, he's not. So if you wanted wall-to-wall Carnage, that's not going to happen. Also, Carnage, even in the comics, again, they have to hint at this very carefully, but I read the original trilogy. They did give a big impression of how lethal and how dangerous he was. You're not going to get that here. This is very much a PG-13 rated version of Carnage. With this kid-friendly version of Carnage, it'll work for you. If you wanted a much more adult Carnage, it's not going to work. Also, what they do with Shriek seems a little strange. She has a skin condition, so she looks really different from the comics, and I don't really even mind when they change the race or things like that, but it sticks out to me that they're being just lazy because they should do makeup at least with her. But so it's very mixed in terms of if you're a comic purist, whether this will work for you, even if you're a fan of the first one, because apparently, again, a lot of critics, even who liked it, say this is just the first one with steroid. If you like the continuity from the first one, this will be really good, but if you wanted them to do something more or extra or even interesting, it really doesn't. It's just goofy, silly, enjoyable fun. If that's what you want from a film, that's fine. But almost everyone seems to really get a kick out of the post-credit scenes, which, spoilers, and it's not much of a spoiler, is that they finally brought Venom technically into the MCU. So now he's officially part of the Marvel Universe. And he even is now connected to Spider-Man, but it's a very shallow connection. But you'll have to see the movie for yourself. I don't want to spoil the whole thing. But how? Why? Was it Kang? Was it Wanda? Is it Doctor Strange? They don't really clarify, but if you were looking forward for Venom to finally be in the MCU, they finally pulled the trigger. He is now officially an MCU character. What they do with that now is unclear, but now he is, yes, officially an MCU character. So if that's what you were looking forward to, they did make it canonical and official with this movie. There we are. So very mixed, but at least one narrative has been killed. The box office is not dead. How streaming will affect the box office in the future will be interesting, but the theatrical release is not dead. So at least that narrative is still very much alive, at least for a little bit longer. Thanks for listening.